What's going on, everyone? Like I said, we have a Halloween H2O debate, and I'm here with the Myers Fan 25. So, anything you want to say before we start this debate about Halloween H2O?
I just want to say, man, you know what? I'm laughing right now, but I loved your Illuminati video. You are one cool dude, bro. I got nothing but love for you, and I honestly mean that. I
Oh
have
yeah, man. Same thing, man. I like your channel as well, man. You got a lot of good content and a lot of good rants.
thank you, bro. I have to ask you. So this
Hey,
thing,
specifically, you got good rants about Halloween H2O.
that's right, bro. I have to ask you, bro. Were you upset when I did that video? Because you were like, the Myers fan is tearing this movie down, and I was like, what? I'm not tearing it down. It's just bad.
Yeah, so I was at work the other day, and I said, let me listen to this rant, and the stuff you were saying, I was like, man, he really giving this movie a hard time, and I'm like, this is one of the great Halloween movies that came out recently,
Mm.
and I'm just like, how can you bash Halloween H2O? It's a
I,
good movie.
I like the fact that you said recently because a lot of people don't think of it that way, but 20 years would be considered recent. You know,
Yeah,
it's not that old. So it's interesting that you say that.
yeah, it came out in 1998, which, like you
That
said,
that
what 22 years ago, so.
yeah.
That's a long time, but technically in Halloween terms, it's not.
Mhm. That really to me it really wasn't that long ago if you really think about it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It was, 1998. This is only 2020. I could see if you said 1988 or 1978, then we could say, "Oh, that was a long time ago." But this is the 90s.
yeah. So, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go
Did you
ahead.
see did you see Halloween H2O in the movie theater?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
No.
I didn't either. I was I was like 6 years old at the time, so
What happened was I asked my grandfather for it, and I really didn't want to do it. I don't know if you heard the story, but I did a series of reaction videos on my channel where I reacted to each Halloween film in the franchise, 1 through 8, and I told my childhood experience. And the one with H2O, and I want you to hear this before we do the debate because a lot of people think, oh, he's being hateful, he's being mean. I'm going to be real quick to tell you the story because I don't want to bore your audience with this, but actually I loved it very much. I was in love with that movie, bro. The score, like the main theme, I was obsessed with that movie. I would always talk about it, be like, yeah, H2O, and I loved it. Anyway, what happened was I had to go to Bible study that day, and I was trying to get my grandfather to get it for me. I didn't want to come out and ask for it because I thought he was going to say, you asked for too much. You know how kids are, always asking for stuff. So anyway,
yeah.
I said, you know, Pop, I want a tape. I want a tape. He says, what movie do you want this time? I says, I was trying to think of a way to ask him, ask him for it. I says, what's hydrogen plus oxygen equal? And he said H2O. I said, that's what I want, and he went and he got it, and I was in the room playing NBA Live with my dad, and my mom came in the bedroom. And she says, somebody wants to see you out in the living room. I said, oh, I thought I was in trouble. And, you know, I came out there. My grandfather was sitting on the couch and he tells my brother, he says, give him the tape. I said, what tape? My brother hands me the tape and it says Halloween H2O. I was like, I started screaming.
Yeah,
So,
that's a cool story right there.
yeah, so, bro, I didn't always hate it. It was when I grew up and I realized, I said, this movie's terrible. This, but, enough of the stories. I want to know what you have against me. What is your argument, sir?
Well, the overall plot, I feel like you have a problem with the overall plot as far as them being at a different location. And I
Hmm.
also feel like you have a problem with the Michael Myers, like the character.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you think I don't know, like he's weak in this movie,
Kind
but
yeah,
I could argue that the 1978 Michael was just as weak
yeah,
because I mean, in the original, Michael Myers was getting attacked by Laurie Strode,
that's true.
and it was simple attacks like getting picked with a clothes hanger.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Getting stabbed here and there and
Yeah,
falling out on the floor.
yeah,
And he was clumsy. Like when he was stalking, who was it? Annie,
yeah.
and the plant flower had fell down and Michael Myers had ran away. You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff like that. I feel like Halloween H2O is a real scary movie, and the cinematography is great, and it reminds me a lot of 1978. And I just feel like people who love the 1978 film should appreciate Halloween
And they
H2O, but most don't.
really.
Yeah, that's
I
how I feel.
hmm. Well, okay. Let me try to put it to you like this. When I saw H2O, you see that's why I told you to go back and watch those reaction videos that I did because you would know that I grew up in a family that didn't have a lot of we didn't have a lot of money. So I could only afford a little bit at a time. I told the audience that I could only get one. I got number one, and that was via a friend. A friend got it from a friend, and he gave it to me because he didn't want it anymore. So I got Halloween the original, and then I saw six because I was under the impression that six was three. And my grandfather informed me that six was three, but he was misinformed. And he had taped part six from a service called First Run Pay Per View. And that was a big thing back in the 90s. And this was like 96. So, anyway, when I later found out that the curse was actually part six, and then they were doing H2O in 98, which I didn't get to see until April of 99, I was under the impression that H2O would follow six. And actually, it did follow six because it has a picture of scissors. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Bloody scissors, okay. And the bloody scissors are from five, and it says on the picture aorta puncture, which is a reference to Rachel Carruthers' death. So, in a way, it does follow four through six, but that really turned me off. It really did. I was like, because if you're telling me you want me to believe that he was missing for 20 years. Sir, I ask you, if he were missing for 20 years, what the hell was he doing for 20 years?
You know, I had that same problem too, but it's something that I can get over because at the same time they just wanted to bring Michael back,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what other way to bring Michael back because you have Laurie Strode and
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Lee Curtis, and
Yes.
she's aged. It's been 20 years, and it's like you really can't have Michael come back and Laurie come back, and they haven't aged. That's like if they wanted to pick up 2 years later from the 1978 film with this 2008 film. You
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do it because Laurie Strode, well, Jamie Lee Curtis' character is way too old, and it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would have been a great idea because in the opening scene, you seen Dr. Loomis had all those pinpoints where Michael Myers could have been or where sightings was because he might have just been, just roaming around.
He might have, but
Which
but I
is which is scary in itself if you think about it.
uh-huh. But I just say, sir, with all due respect, the plot is full of holes because again, I mean, okay, let's start with the opening shot. All right. Now you and I both know how special Halloween is. It's a very intimidating franchise. I'm intimidated by it as an amateur writer. As you know, I'm working on something for Halloween, and even I'm having trouble with it. And I say that to say that when they opened H2O up, they could have thought of something way better than some random woman stabbing the crap out of a pumpkin and then playing Mr. Sandman. What's up with that?
I like it. I actually think H2O has one of the better opening scenes. Like you said, they show the woman stabbing the pumpkin, the kids playing, and then they show the nurse going up to the door, and she step on the glass, and everything gets serious from there on out. And I thought it was a
You that.
great opening scene. I thought it was suspenseful, and it gave that Halloween mood. I
Mm.
mean, that's just my opinion. I feel like a lot of people should like that. But I didn't see a problem with the pumpkin or, all that. So
Okay, so since you're one of the people that like H2O, would you say that The Curse of Michael Myers is a inferior film?
uh no. I like Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. I feel like they have a good story. They tied everything in together. And honestly, The Curse of Michael Myers could be in my top 3.
Oh, that's good to know. And see again,
And
H.
I know a lot of people who hate Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, which I don't know why, but
Yeah. Well, H2O again. Let's talk about the atmosphere. The atmosphere is horrible. Now I know
huh? No, no, come on now, man. The atmosphere is horrible.
it is.
It's one of the best ones now. Now, okay, tell me what you didn't like about it.
Well, because all right, okay, I know we're in California, and when I saw it with my mom, she had to constantly remind me, "This is California." So I'm saying, well, in California they have a lot of sun. You and I know that, but you and I, we didn't grow up on the West Coast. You know what I mean? We grew up on the East Coast, so we're used to those days where you get the leaves and you get the, it looks kind of dreary outside in October. I mean, can't you agree with that?
I,
Kind of.
I agree with that, but do you agree with the fact that you had 6 Halloween movies
Yes, sir.
before that, and they all had the same thing. And
That.
H2O switched it up a little bit. Um, it was still on Halloween, but in a different location. And I feel like that college they were at, it was
Mhm.
a great atmosphere. I mean, if you think about that scene, um, when Laurie Strode was in the cafeteria and Michael was on the tables, you can't tell me that was great mood and atmosphere.
That was it was very tense. I'll give you that. And did you know that came from Halloween 4?
Yeah, because Halloween 4 didn't have the budget or the time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was that was a good scene, but sir, let's talk about the most iconic shot in the entire movie. Michael Myers swings down from the roof like he's fucking Spider Man. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on.
I thought that was hard, you know,
Uh,
and it showed his strength, holding his one arm up, and that's brute strength right there. I thought that was cool.
so overall, you feel that I was being unfair with the movie? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying you're unfair. I just feel like you're nitpicking. Like with the opening scene where you were talking about the pumpkin and the Mr. Sandman song. I thought that was pretty cool because it's playing off the ending of Halloween 2
Mm-hmm.
because at the end they played Mr. Sandman and of course the original Halloween. I just thought that it was good. And I know one thing you probably gonna bring up in this video. Why does Michael Myers have both his eyeballs? As
Uh,
you can see in his mask. And I will have to agree, they totally messed up with that. I
well,
feel like
I mean, here's the thing. We can both agree that they probably grew back because he has, you see, like Jason Voorhees, he has some sort of regenerative property.
he's supernatural.
Right. So I have no problem with that, sir. I just feel that there was really no atmosphere there. They took away the score. I heard it had something to do with John Carpenter. I'm hearing all these different stories. People telling me, "Oh, John, John had a problem with Mustafa, and all this, and that's why they had to take away the Halloween score because of copyright or something like that." I don't know.
So, so you don't think the Halloween H2O score is top three in the franchise?
No, sir. Horrible.
It's
Horrible.
definitely top three. That
What?
orchestra, that orchestra. I mean, that's man. Look, I bought that for my ringtone back in the day.
Well, come
that
on. It's just like Scream with Michael Myers. Come on now. Let
they no. See, you
what?
bringing up the Scream stuff because they all came out around the same time and it looks similar, but these are two completely different movies. I feel like that's a cop out when people try to compare Halloween H2O to Scream. I don't see the comparison. I don't hear the music. The mood and atmosphere might be similar, but you know, I don't know. I feel like that's a cop out when people compare the two.
Okay, then look. What about the part where they were in the bathroom and the little girls? I admit that was a tense scene because she's singing the song. She goes,
Yeah, that's a top five scene in the Halloween franchise.
and then Michael's looking at the mom through the door. I'll admit that was really.
That was intense and scary. That scene right there. Just imagine that in real life.
Oh hell yeah, bro! Of
And,
course.
and Michael, he walked out and he looked back to see if he was gonna get a reaction. And if he was gonna get a reaction, he was gonna kill. But he was just like so on a mission to do what he had to do that he just left.
All right, I'll give you that. I will give you that. That was, but that, bro. Listen, the score was horrible. Like I said, there were most of the kills were off screen. Now talk to me about this.
I can't argue with that. The kills, I'll tell you about one good kill. Well, it ain't that many to choose from, but when Michael had killed Laurie's, I forgot his name. Well, her boyfriend at the time.
Real,
Yeah, Michael had stabbed him in the back and jacked him up. I thought that was hard.
you like that, huh?
Yeah, and other than that, I don't know, man. It
Well,
was just basic kills. It was generic kills. It wasn't nothing special about his kills, and which lacked too. But at the same time, I'm not going to complain about it.
what do you feel like I was too hard on the most? What do you feel um that I nitpicked with the most?
Well, for one, the opening scene, I felt like you went hard on that. Um, Also, I feel like you was harsh on the score, like we just talked about,
Hmm. Well, it was
and
it was pretty bad. It was like run, run. She was like run.
yeah, and I also feel like you know, I feel like what's the dude to play Michael in this movie?
Rich Durand.
Yeah, Chris Duran. I feel like you gave him a bad rap too. Even though I didn't really like him because he always walked with his head down. And I know in the interview he had said that he really didn't watch any Michael Myers movies or anything like that. He just wanted to go into it with his own thing, which I think was a big mistake. But overall, I feel like he was definitely intimidating. He was a great Michael Myers. Like I said in that scene with them in the cafeteria on the tables, that was great stuff.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was pretty. It was pretty intense. It did have the potential. If it would have had a better score and had more kills, it would have been a better movie. But I can't see myself watching it. I don't know what people see in it. And but again, if Jamie Lee Curtis ever wanted to talk to me about it, I'd be open to talk about it. A
But
lot
see,
of people.
Halloween H2O is one of those movies you can watch at any time of the year
Mhm.
because it don't have that Halloween mood and atmosphere. And that's what I like about it. You can just pop it in. It's probably the most rewatchable Halloween movie in the franchise.
Are you kidding me right now? Eight?
I'm being serious.
Wow.
Like, leave a like down below if you can watch Halloween H2O any time of the year. You know, I can watch that movie every day.
Wow. You must be really bored to do that.
Hey, it was like the summer of 2007. I watched that movie every single day in the summertime.
H2O?
Yes, and I'm
Wow.
not kidding you.
Wow. Jamie Lee, I hope you're listening because even she admitted that she only came back to do it for money.
Yeah, well, that's with all her movies. You know how I feel about Jamie Lee Curtis. She don't care about the Halloween fans.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another video.
Like I said, bro, it had the potential. It definitely did. But they just really let me down as a fan. I don't know what Michael was doing for 20 years. It just
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna help you out right quick.
okay.
So, well, first off, what did you think about the ending?
The thing about the head being chopped off. Well, um, in a way, I didn't like it because when she chopped it off, I was like, "That's it." Like that's literally it. You're not gonna shoot him, beat him, you know, kick the shit out of him, punch him in all, like just cut his head. Like that was literally it. It was just whoosh, and then it was dun 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 dun. Dun. I was like, that's it. It just felt so cheesy. You just cut his head off. I,
Yeah, I really wasn't a fan of the whole ending, to be honest. I guess the last 15 minutes, whenever Laurie took the truck and ran over him, and I wasn't a fan of it. But at the same time, if the franchise was to end with Halloween H2O, I felt like it would have been a good ending with Michael Head getting decapitated.
Mhm. She just stood there. She was like, and breathing the way he does. So that was kind of weird. I was like, why is she? She literally just it's like that's the way you end it. She just literally stood there and did nothing, and then it just shut off.
Yeah, I can't argue with that because yeah, I can see a point of view on that.
Just think about this for a second. I want you to picture this. She literally just stood right there doing nothing while the music was playing. And speaking of music, you want to know another gripe I have with that? Do you know what they did? When you hear that music playing, the theme at the end, when after she chops his head off, do you know who's playing that theme? John Carpenter. They took that from his 1978 work. They didn't even think enough of the movie to create music for that. They literally just popped a CD in and just said, fuck it, we're going to use this.
Yeah, but you got to look at it this way: they was playing off the original timeline, so it's 1978, 81, and then H2O. So
And I'll give you that. Cause in a way, they brought John back to the movie by using something that he was playing. I think that version of the theme was an unused track. I don't know how much you know about the theme. I'm sort of an expert on it, but basically, what happened was I'm trying to think of a way to explain it because I don't have the theme here to like demonstrate what I mean. There's the beginning part of the theme, the middle, and then the end. Like there's the part where it goes dun 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 dun. You know that part.
Yeah.
And so with that version of the theme, what I hated about it was they did the opening part, which is the dun dun dun, and then they went dun dun dun, and then they just skip right to the end. Dun 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 dun. I'm like, well, where's the middle part? You know, like they just cut that whole section out, and then they just went to this song by Creed. What's this life
Yeah.
for?
That was a big mistake. I didn't like that at all. I don't know who choice that was, but they need to stay away from the Halloween franchise for life.
I'm like, what the hell are you doing? First of all, you just cut out the entire middle section of the theme and just went straight to the end of it. You claimed that you loved working on that movie so much and you didn't even think enough of it to make a track especially for it. You can hate Resurrection all you want, but at least they thought enough of it to give it its own score. Yes, I will admit, in the beginning stages of Resurrection, they did cheat and use John's score. I admit that because I have a copy of it on my other laptop. I have a copy of the work print of Resurrection where they used John's score and they cheated. But you know what? At the end of the day, they took that out and they gave it their own music. They made it their own. With H20, they thought so little of it that they just popped a CD in and they were like, fuck it, we'll just use this. It's like, but you know, I don't know. If that were me and I was making Retribution, I would have gave it this over the top theme to show that this is the ninth movie, bro. This is the ninth one. This is Retribution. Michael's back. And I would have gave him this kick ass, you know, theme to end it. But no, they literally just got some shit that John didn't even use, and where the middle part of the theme is missing to begin with, and then after that they just literally threw on some rock and roll shit. And I admit it's a good song by itself, but they just threw that in there, and it just nothing about this movie said Halloween at all. It was just horrible.
Man, I don't know. Uh, I just feel like, well, let's talk about the box office, man, because they had great box office success, but I know box office success doesn't mean that it was a good movie, but
That's definitely true.
it's a lot of people that still went out to go see it and rewatch it. And I feel like that has to mean something.
Well, I mean,
Do you think that Halloween H2O crippled Halloween Resurrection?
um, I think H2O crippled the entire thing because you're basically saying we're gonna erase the rest of the continuity and we're gonna work off of one and two. After one and two, even the lady that played Marion Chambers admitted that everybody was literally and figuratively dead after one and two. So there's not much more story to build on. Everyone's dead. So, like, but at least with what I'm doing with my script, you have a lot more material to work off because it uses all 8 films. Where with this, I mean, if Laurie dies, then what are you gonna do? There's no more characters. I mean, you have John, if you want to use him, but they couldn't get him back. I guess that's the way that worked. And
I believe they could have got Josh Hartnett back. I don't know why they didn't bring him back.
and you heard Larry Brand because you listened to my interview with Larry Brand where he said they couldn't afford LL Cool J.
Yeah,
So
that's hard to believe too.
yeah, I
That's
don't believe.
hard to believe. I believe LL Cool J didn't want to do it,
You're telling me a company like the Weinstein Company couldn't afford LL Cool J?
but they could afford Busta Rhymes.
You,
Something's
you
backwards about that.
come on, you know the Weinsteins had money, bro. You telling me they really couldn't get LL? Stop.
It's either that. Well, they did have Tyra Banks. I don't know. They tried to get all the big, actors in this one. Maybe it just cost too much. I don't know. And then with the production of them rebuilding the Myers house and all that, I don't know. Maybe they couldn't afford them.
Maybe not. I highly doubt it though. But back to H2O, man. Like I said, it just I don't know. All my expectations just went down the toilet. I liked it as a kid, but when I got older, I was like, "What is this?" Just it was just a big mess, and I don't see why they just talk about the curse of Michael Myers. And by the way, I never did watch the commentary for H2O on the Blu-ray on my box set that I have because they're just gonna shit on Halloween 6 for an hour and a half. And I really don't want to hear that because I can easily rip your movie to shreds, as you see I've done several times over the years. They can sit there and shit on 6 all they want, but H2O was horrible. You know it's bad. Everyone knows it's bad. And years later, Jamie Lee Curtis admitted that it wasn't that good. Come on. And then Danielle Harris has the nerve to say, I wanted to be in H2O. Well, you should have been because you would have elevated it. You know what I mean? She would have made it better. It was just a horrible film. I have nothing against you personally. I think you're a great YouTuber. You know, I envy the fact that you can come up with these topics and with the ghost hunters and shit. I'm like, how does this guy come up with this stuff? I wish I could do that, but
Yeah, man. It's always good to have a debate. Talk movies because if everyone agreed with everything, it'll be a boring world.
I don't know. I just thought it was like it's just really bad. I'm trying to think.
And a lot of this has, with me having to like H2O, you know, it's sentimental to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right, like Resurrection is to me, and that's the thing. What people don't understand is it's your environment. Environment influences a lot of things. Like if you grow up in a negative environment, you might end up having a negative outlook on life. And that's the way it was with H2O. Like I like it and I'll always hold it dear to my heart because my grandfather got the tape for me when I was a little kid. Now I don't know where the tape is now. I have it on DVD and Blu-ray now, and might I add, I have Resurrection on DVD, and guess what? It's broken. I can't watch it. But the reason I would never throw it away, even though I have another copy of it on DVD and it works and everything, but the broken copy I would keep because it's literally from 2002 when the movie first came out.
Yeah.
So even though it's broken, it's a piece of history. So that's why I kept it. And I can understand your sentimental outlook on H2O and your sentimental views and all that. But again, when you do a movie for political reasons and you're trying to push an image instead of just doing the movie because you love to do it, that's what makes it look bad. And I like her and all, and I would love to get her on the channel. But basically, she's like, I'm the Scream Queen. Um, I look, see, I'm still here after 20 years, and I respect that. But it's not supposed to be about where you've been. It's supposed to be about where he's been. I always thought Halloween was about Michael, but they took it away from Michael and just made it all about Laurie. And that's another one that really, it threw me off. I didn't like that.
Yeah, and I have several rant videos talking about Jamie Lee Curtis if you want to check those out. And the Myers Fan 25 has nothing to do with those videos if any celebrities are listening. So, um that's
Appreciate.
that's just my opinion on those videos.
Hmm. And by the way, not that I'm boasting to make myself look, like some good guy, some saint or whatever. But the one thing that you can't say about me is you can't say he never gave a shit about Halloween. You can't say that. You would have to admit that I genuinely care about it. I think the fans know I care about it, and I'm not pushing my own agenda with all due respect, sir. I the only message and agenda that I have is that Michael Myers is back and his message is murder. That's his only message. That is his tagline for Retribution that I made up and people liked it. Michael is back and his message is murder. That's it. I'm not here to push a social agenda. I'm not here to push a movement. Michael Myers has come home to kill. Point blank. He's here to kill, and that's what H20 should have been. Forget all the social commentary. Forget all the, oh, I'm dealing with alcohol issues. We all got issues. We all do. But you don't take them and put them in movies. That's where Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 failed. Because they went with the sexual abuse storyline. And one of the things that a YouTuber said was, this made me really uncomfortable. I didn't want to sit here and watch this for an hour.
I felt the same way too, man.
Like the guy was like, I don't want to watch this for an hour and a half. This is uncomfortable. So with H20, it's like, oh, I'm a drunk. Oh, poor me. And my dad was like, well, what the hell? If you're drinking, it's not going to help you. It's going to make it worse. Because now you're going to be seeing Michael Myers everywhere. You're going to be seeing him at the store. You're going to be seeing him at the laundromat or wherever you go. Oh, hey, Will. That Will was her boyfriend. I just saw Michael Myers at the laundromat. Like, oh, and by the way, and then she waits to tell him, oh, by the way, my name isn't Carrie Tate. Oh, it isn't? Well, what is it? It's Laurie Strode. Strode? He's laughing at the shit. Strode? Oh, and my brother killed my sister. And he's a serial killer. And I'm gonna tell you straight. You're sitting there having sex, and she fucking tells you her brother's a notorious serial killer. I'd have been like, "Whoa, you get off me, move!" This guy's been this guy's been running around killing people for 20 years, and you want to do the boom boom with me? Get off me! Earlier, bro, come on, be real. Come on. I'm not trying to get in your personal life, but I'm saying your girlfriend talking to you, y'all kissing, whatever. Oh yeah, by the way, my brother's a serial killer.
Yeah, some people it might turn off, some people it might turn them on. You never know.
You're like, wait a minute, what? What the hell am I still doing here? I don't know, man. I just not to me, man. You know what I mean? It was just all bad timing. Like, why would you tell him this shit? I mean, yeah, I know he said that his parents, if you watch the alternate version of H20, he's like, oh, my parents, they broke up and his dad walked out on his mom, which is really bad. I get that, but your dad walking out on your mom is not the same thing as your brother being a serial killer. So I don't know. I just thought it was a horrible, horrible storyline. And then they even wrote a scene in there for Danielle Harris' character where Laurie, I guess, sees a picture of Danielle Harris, Jamie Lloyd, and she throws up. But they took that out. It's like, what is this thing? Y'all should have put her in there because it would have elevated the shit. I mean, it would have made it better. I mean, you could have easily said, "Oh, well, she's in the hospital bed and her lungs are all messed up because of the farm equipment or whatever." And yes, I know you could easily argue with me and say Danielle Harris couldn't have survived that because it like obliterated her organs and whatnot. But I'm saying you can get around that, bro. Come on, it's Hollywood. You can say anything. Be like, oh, she was really badly injured, but she healed.
Yeah, but I always look at it. She got shot in the head.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's the version I like anyway,
Yeah.
and that's the one I consider canon.
Hmm. All right, but it's the same thing though. Are you telling me you wouldn't want to see her in H2O?
Yeah, I feel like it would have been better than having Josh Hartnett as the main.
So
Um,
I mean, you could have easily said, well, she got shot in the head. Maybe she got brain damage. Maybe she can't talk anymore. Like, think about it like this: Lori could have been spoon feeding her and shit, like like because she's all messed up because she got shot. That would have been great. And then maybe she talks at the end. Like her mom could have been like, one day you're gonna have to get over this fear. You can't live like this forever. What are you gonna do? Hide in the bedroom for the rest of your life?
yeah, I can't argue that. That would have been a good storyline.
See, so that's what, bro. Now, see, you see now, am I? See, I'm not so mean now, am I? That's all I was saying. Like you could have said something like, well, you can't be in this bed, so you just gonna sit in the bed all your life. You're not gonna come out the room. You just gonna let this guy win. Like that would have been great. And then she would have been like, you don't know shit about my life. Like how Danielle, how she talks. You know, and I thought that would have been great. She could have been like, you left me for all those years. You know, and then maybe at the end they reconcile, and then maybe at the end one of them dies. Just saying.
Yeah, I can agree there. Well, guys, who did you all agree with? Did you agree with me? Do you think Halloween H2O is a good movie? Do it hold sentimental value to you? Or do you just like it as an overall great movie? Or do you agree with the Myers fan 25? Do you think the movie is hot garbage? Let us know down below in the comment section. Anything you want to say before we close out?
Oh man, I just want to thank you for having me on the channel. And by the way, I want to thank you for agreeing to let me have a copy. In fact, when I first discovered you, I thought you came in the group to attack me because when I saw that you first posted in my group, like I literally didn't even know you were there. And then
Yeah.
and then when I saw you, I was like, oh shit, like this guy's coming to attack me. Because that's all I've ever gotten over the past 10 years. And this is my 10th anniversary, as you know. And but
Yeah, man. I call you the OG.
oh, thank you so much. And when I heard you complimenting me, I was like, wow, because I definitely thought you were coming to challenge me. Like, oh, you've been here 10 years. Who do you think you are? That's what I thought you were gonna do, but you didn't do that. And I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the respect that you've had for me. Um, I've worked hard to build what I have, and
And oh yeah, to all my subscribers, please check out his channel. He has a lot of horror content, a lot of horror movie reviews. I remember the other day I was watching the It. You was ranting about
It's-
yeah, you were ranting about It, and I was laughing so hard at that, man. You
was
were
it
giving Stephen King a hard time.
the 19? Okay, was it 1990 or 2007? I have them both up there. Was it?
1990.
Okay, yeah. Um, it's kind of grown on me, and I'll tell you why. Because it's one of those movies that you can pop in on a rainy day and look at it. But that's just my take on it, and I've since changed my mind about it. And it is what it is, bro. But I would like to recommend the movie to you. It's called Storm of the Century. It's a Stephen King movie. It's very good, and again, ladies and gentlemen, Halloween H20 20 years later. It came out August 5th of 1998. For those that didn't see it, it celebrates Jamie Lee Curtis's 20 years in acting, in film, and she wanted to come back to the franchise that made her famous. So I guess I appreciate that, and as we can see, um, everyday horror here, he does not look at it so fondly, and he doesn't look at it as simple as her coming back for the 20th anniversary of her career to say thank you to the fans. You don't look at it that way, huh?
Nah,
Oh,
H2O is a masterpiece.
mm-hmm. And so, but you are you a fan of her, or are you not? Like, what is it with you? Like,
Some days I appreciate what she's done for the Halloween franchise, and some days whenever she just makes a crazy comment about the fans or she bashes, the movies Danielle Harris was in, it kind of throws me off, and it makes me upset. That's the only reason why I have like a love-hate relationship with Jamie Lee Curtis.
and bro, this is the thing. I just want to say this last thing before we wrap this up. Like I said, if they would have just done the movie, it would have been cool as hell. To have Danielle Harris paralyzed. She's strapped to the fucking bed, and she just sits there all day and all night thinking about her uncle. I thought it would have been great because Jamie Lee Curtis walks in the room, says hi to Danielle Harris. Danielle Harris doesn't say anything, just sits there. She's like, "Oh, I see you didn't eat again," and maybe Danielle Harris knocks the tray on the floor. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? All these great elements that they could have had between them. But they didn't go through with that, and it's an unfortunate thing. So once again, I want to thank you for having me on the channel, and hopefully we can do something else. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been the Michael Myers fanatic, and I've been here with Everyday Horror. Awesome channel, sir. Awesome channel.
Appreciate it. Likewise. So yeah, everyone be safe. Peace.